Yeah, hi everyone. Let us recap the last session. So in the last session, we have discussed about operators. So in the operators, we discussed about arithmetic operators, relational operators, conditional operators, and logical operators, and comparison operator. We have seen different examples. So after that, we have discussed about the conditional statement. So in TypeScript, if else, if else ladder and ternary operator, these are the conditional statements that are available. So if there is exactly one possibility, we use if. Exactly two possibilities, we have to use if else. And if there are more than two possibilities, we have to use if else ladder. So then also we have discussed about ternary operator. So where if we have very simple yes or no possibilities, we have to use the ternary operator. It's like a single statement. We'll go for ternary operator. So apart from that, so there is one more statement switch. So when we use switch, generally if you have more than two conditions, we'll go for if else ladder. Let's say up to 4 or 5 conditions is fine. Let's say you have a use case where you need to evaluate multiple conditions. Let's say I have more than 5 possibilities or 10 possibilities. Then we'll prefer to go for switch statement. So today let us discuss about the switch statement. What is the syntax of the switch statement and how it looks like. So once it is done, we'll jump into the loops and TypeScript supports while, do while, for in, for off, for loop. After that, we will discuss about break and continue. So first let us discuss about switch statement and let us see how the syntax of switch looks like. So the syntax of the switch statement looks like this. So I'll declare a variable. So let this is a variable. So let I'll declare x. It is a number, let's say. So number I'm providing as 1. So now the switch syntax looks like switch. So here I'll pass x. So then inside the switch, you should have case statement. I would say case 1, write the code, break statement. Again, case 2, write the code, break statement. Again, you can write case 3, code, break statement. So like that, you can have n number of cases. So then we have to write default case, write the code and break statement. So this is how the syntax of switch statement looks like. So here I have declared x as a number. So it is of type number data type. So I am passing x inside the switch statement. So now I can say x is a switch variable. And what is the data type of x here? So the data type of x is number. So inside the switch statement, each case should have a case value. So whatever the data type of switch variable, the same data type should be given after the case variable. So I can say this is a case value. It should be 1 because the switch variable here is a number. If the switch variable is a number, then the case value should also be number. So here I am providing case 1, case 2, case 3. Like that you can have n number of cases. So now what is the value of x here? So the switch variable x value is 1. So it will match with case 1. And in the case 1, whatever the code is available, it will execute that code. And since there is a break statement, it will come out of this case and go to the next statement. So after the switch, you can write next piece of code. Okay. So first the value of x is 1. So it will match with the case value 1. It will execute this code. Once the code is executed, it will come out of the case 1 and will go to the next statement. So now I'll provide case value as 2. So now the x value is 2. That means the switch variable value is 2. Since the switch variable value x is 2, it will match with case value 2, and whatever the code that is mentioned in the case 2, it will execute that, then skips everything, go to the next statement. Suppose let's say I have gave case value as 4. So let's say here nothing is matched because Here the value of case is 1, here it is 2, it is 3. So case 4 value is not matching with any of the case values. Since it is not matching with any of the case values, so it will go and execute the default case. So that means if nothing is matched, it will go and execute the default case. So in the default case, whatever the code that we have mentioned, it will execute that, go to the next statement. So this is how the switch statement works. So we prefer switch statement whenever you need to evaluate more than 3 conditions or 4 conditions. Because if I want to keep that in if else ladder, it will become too clumsy and it is not so much readable. So that is the reason we go for switch case. So as of now, here the switch variable I have given as a number, but it can be anything. It can be a string, it can be a character. So depending on the requirement, you can keep any of the variable for the switch case. So now let us discuss some examples. So now let me create a new folder. Yeah, so okay, I'll write in the same conditional statements. So switch case, I would give number dot ts. So now here I'm declaring a variable. So let's say it is a number. So let the switch variable name I'm giving as day. It is of number. So initially I'm providing a value of 1. So now here my intention is if the value of day is 1, I wanted to print Monday. If the value of day is 2, I wanted to print Tuesday. So the value of day is a number, but I wanted to match with the day week name. So now let us try this. I would say switch. So switch is a keyword. And what is the switch variable here? Day. I'll pass day here. So now I would say case 1. So I would print console.log. I mean, or I would say today is Monday. Then write the break here. So in the same way, I will write other conditions. So case value 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'll write default. So now I would say console.log. So default, I would say no week found. Because if I provide value more than 7, so it is not going to match with any of the days. So I'm printing no week found. I'll print break. So now I'll provide here case value as 2. So this is case 3, case 4, 5, this is 6 and 7. So now if 2 is matched, I would say in Tuesday. So if 3 is matched, Wednesday, and this should be Thursday. That's all right, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. So and we should not give duplicate values to the switch variables. So the switch case value should be unique. Here it should be 1, 2, 3, but you should not give duplicate case values. If you provide duplicate case values, it will give an error. So now I'll print the next statement. Switch statement is executed. Yeah. So here, what is the value of day? Day is a switch variable here. The value of day is 1. So since the value of day is 1, so it is matching with the case value 1. Since it is matching with case value 1, it should print today is Monday. So let us run this. So now I would say npx ts node. So it is in src conditional statements switch case. Okay. So it should print today is Monday because the value of day is 1. So it is matching with the case value 1. So the case value 1 is printing today is Monday. Okay. And such case is executed because Once this is executed, then the next statement we are printing switch statement is executed. So now I'll give day as 2. So now if I provide day value as 2, it is matching with case value 2. So it is not matching with 1, it is matching with case value 2. So since it is matching with case value 2, so whatever the code that we have written in the case 2, it will execute that. So I should print today is Tuesday and switch is executed. So yeah, so today is Tuesday and switch is executed. So like that, if I give 3, it is matching with the case 3. In the same way, 5, 6, 7, it will match with the respective case value and it will give execute the code written inside that case. So now I'll provide 8 here. So 8 is not matching with any of the case values here. So we have case values from 1 to 7. So the case value is not matching with any of the cases. Since it is not matching with any of the cases, it will execute the default case, which is saying no week found, and switch is executed. Yeah, I should print no week found and switch is executed. Yeah, so we can see because there is no case value 8, since it is not matching with any of the cases. So it is executing the default case, and in the default case, it is printing no week found. Then in the next statement, it is printing switch statement is executed. So this is how switch executes. So you can keep the string also as a switch variable. As of now, this is day is a number. So now let us try one more case. So now what I will do is I am going to remove this break statement. Let's see what happens. So now I am keeping number as 1. So if I give number as 1, so it is matching with case value 1. So if I run this, I will expect the output should be today is Monday and today is Tuesday. Since there is a break statement here, it will come out of the switch statement and go to the next statement and print switch statement is executed. So let me run this. After that, we'll discuss why it is executing. So the expected output is today is Monday, today is Tuesday, switch statement executed. Yeah, you can see. So it is printing today is Monday, today is Tuesday, and switch statement executed. So what is the reason? So the reason is initially the value of day is 1. So the switch variable value is 1. It is matching with case 1. So it is printing today is Monday. But to come out of the switch statement, there is no break statement here because we have intentionally removed the break statement. Since there is no break, it will not exit from the switch statement. Rather, it will go until it finds a break statement. So in the case 1, it has printed today is Monday. There is no break statement. So it went to case 2 as well and it printed today is Tuesday. And after executing the case 2 code, it found a break statement. So then it came out of the switch statement, printed switch statement executed. So now the same case, if I remove break in case 2 as well, now it will print case 1, 2, and 3. So let me format this. Okay. Yeah. So now it will print. I mean, today is Monday, today is Tuesday, and today is Wednesday. After Wednesday, there is a break statement. So it will come out of the switch. So let me run. So now it should give output as today is Monday, today is Tuesday, and today is Wednesday. And switch statement executed. Yeah. So this is how the switch statement works. So as of now here, if you observe, we have given only one line of code inside the switch statement, but each case we have multiple cases here. For each case we have a one line statement, but generally each case can have any number of lines of code. You can have a logic inside that. So now I wanted to create one more switch statement. It is going to accept string as a case value, and now I'll declare two numbers. If I pass the switch variable value as add, it has to add those two numbers. If I pass as multiply, it has to multiply those two values. Let us try that. So now let me create one more case. So here I am declaring let So the name of this switch variable I'm giving as operation. It is of type string. So initially I'll give add. So now I'll write a switch case of. So what is the variable here? Operator. So now I'll declare two numbers here. Let, so number one, it is of type. So it is of type number. So I'm assigning 10. So other number is number two, and I'm assigning 20 to this. So now when I give the operator as add, it should add these two numbers. So if I say multiply, it should multiply these two numbers. And let's see if I provide any other different keyword, then it should say that no matched operation found. So let's say that is my intention. So now I would say case add. So here, since you are using string as a switch variable, you should provide the value either in double quotes or single quotes. So I want to add the numbers. So now I would say console dot, or you can do like this. So yeah, I would say console dot log. I would say a plus b and break statement. So it should be number one plus number two. So number one, number two. So this is adding the numbers. So now if I provide the variable as multiply, so it should multiply these two values. Okay, yeah. So now let's say I gave any other one. I would say default. So no matching operation found. So this is my intention. So now I am giving add here. So here I'll say addition is, so provide as this dollar within floor braces you can provide this. So because I want to keep the expression inside the string. So here, yeah, I would say number one into number two. Hashtag is for multiplication. So now let me run this. So in this case, you should add and give the sum. So you should add the number one and number two. So because as of now, the operator I'm providing as add. So this is a string. It is matching with case value add. So it is adding these two numbers and giving you the sum as 30. So now if I give multiply, I'll give multiply. So now I should see the multiplication of number one and number two. So yeah, so now it gave the multiplication of these two numbers. Now if I give a different operation, then it may not found, then it will give no matching operation found. So this way you can write any number of lines of code inside a switch case. So yeah, based on your requirement, we can keep multiple switch cases and we can execute the required logic. So this is how we can use the switch case. So as I told you, the switch case we use whenever if else ladder has too many conditions to keep, then we can go for switch case. So like that, based on the requirement, you can keep different types of variables. You can keep number or string or boolean. So you can keep whatever you need based on our situation. Okay. Yeah, this is all about switch case. So now let us discuss about loops in TypeScript. So generally, what is a loop and what is the use of loop? So before discussing the loops, let us discuss one use case where I don't have any loops. Let us see how we can execute that. So now let me create a, so I'm creating a new folder here. So I'll name the folder as loops. So yeah, let me create a new file, loops.ts. I'll give first while loop because we'll go one by one. So I'll give the name as while loop. Okay, so now my requirement is I wanted to print a number one 5 times, let's say. So how you do that? Console.log. So I'll print 1 and 1. So now since I wanted to print 5 times, I gave 5 print statements because I want to print 5 times. So without loops, you have to write the same code again and again. Suppose if I want to print numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you have to write the same code again and again. So the main use of loops is you can execute the same code n number of times based on your requirement. So you can use the loop, keep the code inside the loop, then the loop can execute as many times as you want based on your requirement. So using the loops, you can execute the same logic or same code with the different values, or the same code you can execute n number of times. So what are the loops that TypeScript supports? So the TypeScript supports the following loops. It supports while, do while, for in, for off, and for loop. After that, we have break and continue. So these are special keywords. If you want to exit from a loop, we can use break. And if you wanted to skip a particular iteration, we can use continue. I will discuss that shortly. So now let us discuss about while. Let us see how the syntax of the while loop looks like. So the syntax of while loop looks like this. So you have to keep while, specify the condition and write the code here. Then give increment or decrement. Then next statement. So this is how the syntax of the while loop looks like. So first it will check the condition. Condition can be anything. That is all based on our requirement. So it will check the condition first, whether the condition is true or not. If the condition is true, then only it will enter into the code. So it will execute the code. Once the code is executed, it will check, it will perform increment or decrement. I think in the yesterday session, we have discussed about increment and decrement. So increment is going to increase the value of a variable by 1. Decrement will decrease the value of a variable by 1. Once the increment or decrement is performed, it will go and check the condition. If the condition is true, again it will enter into the loop, execute the code, again perform increment or decrement. So this process will go on till whenever, as long as this condition is true, this will process will go on. So as soon as this condition become false, it will come out of the while loop and go to the next statement. So now my intention is I wanted to print numbers from 1 to 100. So let's say that is my requirement. So let us see how we can achieve that. So now with the help of loops, so I would say let I, so I is of type number. I'm providing a value of 1. So now what is the condition? So I would like to print the values from 1 to 100. So that means the value of I should be less than or equal to 100. So I would say I less than or equal to 100. So I want to print console.log I. I'll print the value of I. Then I would say I plus plus. So let us see how this works and how this prints the values. After that, I would say console.log while loop is executed. This is the next statement. So the next statement, you can keep any code. So here I'm just keeping this print console.log statement to print the message to the console. So the initial value of I is, so this is called initialization. I'm assigning value of I to 1. So the I value is 1 here. It will come to the while loop and check the condition. So I less than or equal to 100. This is true because the I value is currently 1. 1 less than or equal to 100 is true. Since this is true, it will enter into the loop, print value 1 because currently the value of I is 1. So it will print 1. After that, we are giving I plus plus. So or you can also give I equal to I plus 1. I equal to I plus 1 or I plus plus both are same. So now after this statement, the value of I becomes 2. So now again it will go and check the condition. 2 less than or equal to 100. This is true. So it will print 2. Again it will go on 3, 4, 5 until 100 it will print. After 100, again it will perform increment. So it will become 101. It will come and check here 101 less than or equal to 100. This is false. Since this is false, it will come out of the while loop and go to the next statement. Print while loop is executed. So this is how the while loop works. So let me run this. So yeah, we need to go to the loops folder and inside the loops. So while loop. So let me run. It should print numbers 1 to 100. So it will print 1 to 100 and while loop is executed. Okay. So this is how while loop works. I think if you already have idea on Java, it is very similar to Java. So wherever you study while loop, the syntax is same, the process is same. Okay, so now what I will do is, so now I'll give I value as 101. So now what will happen here is, so 101 less than or equal to 100, this is false because the value of 101 less than 100 is false. Since this is false, it will not enter into the while loop at all. It will directly go to the next statement. That means it will simply print while loop is executed. So let me run again. So that means while loop is a preconditional loop. So first it will check the condition. If the condition is true, then only it will enter into the code and execute the code. In this case, the value of I is 101. The initial value of I is 101. So this condition is evaluating to false. Since this is false, it will not enter into the while loop. It will directly go to the next statement. Okay, so here we printed the values 1 to 100. But now my intention is I want to print the numbers from 1 to 100, like 1 is odd, 2 is even, 3 is odd, like that I wanted to print. So that means inside the while loop, you can write the code as you like. Like you can have different conditions or you can write different logics based on your requirement. So now instead of printing 1, 2, 3 like that, so I wanted to print like this. I think we already aware how to write the logic to find a number is even or odd. So inside the while loop, now I am writing the if else condition. If I percentile 2 equal to 0, if the I value is, when you divide I value with 2, if that is 0, then I would say that is even number. So console.log. So I is even. So if that is not even, this should be odd. So yeah, I'll go and print I is odd. So let me format this, right click and click on this format document. Yeah. So if I run this, it will simply print 1 is odd. Okay. So I think now it will not execute because the value of I is 101. So it will directly execute while loop is executed. Now I'll keep I value as 1. So clear the console. So now let me run this. So it will give you one is odd, two is even. So like that it will print till 100. Yeah. So this is how while loop works. So inside the while loop, based on your requirement, you can keep different logics. So inside the loop, you can write based on your requirement, you can write a lot of the code depending on the situation. So this is how while loop works. So now,
Hello. Uh,
yeah, yeah.
can I ask you if this print that happened is in vertical fashion? If we want like horizontally with the comma, is it possible to print that way?
Yeah, you can print that, but you just need to concatenate and try that. So you just need to, yeah, because this console.log, it is giving a, by default, it will give a new line, right? So if you
Right.
don't, yeah, you can skip that new line and it is going to print in the same line.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
No, no, what I'm saying is here we have this console.log, right?
Yeah.
So the console.log by default give a new line. Hello?
Okay, so if we don't want to get a new line and do it in the same line, how should we proceed?
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, you just ignore that. I mean, so if you don't want to keep that, right, so you can give slash t slash tab. It will give in the same line. So instead of printing here, okay. So now, yeah. So so this is how the while loop works. So now if you want to, yeah. So this is like preconditional. So now let's say the next one is we have do while. So in the do while, this is a preconditional. So the do while is a post conditional because here in the do while, let us discuss about the syntax. So now I'll say do. So write the code here, and here we do perform increment or decrement, and here it will be next statement, and here we need to provide while this is the condition. Okay. So because in the while loop, this is just a preconditional, but in the do while, so first it will enter into the do block irrespective of the condition because first it won't check the condition. So it won't check the condition first. It will directly enter into the code and then it will perform increment or decrement. Then it will check the condition. Okay. So that is the difference between while and do while is the while is a preconditional. First it will check the condition, then it will enter into the code. In the do while, irrespective of the condition, because first it doesn't check any condition. So irrespective of the condition, it will directly enter into the code and it will execute the code. Then it will perform increment or decrement. Once the increment or decrement is performed, then it will check the condition from the second time. So that is the difference between while and do while. So let us try example here. So now let me create a new one. So do while. Okay. So now, yeah, the syntax looks like this. So I would say let j, I'll give j as number. So this is one. So the, I mean, only the difference is do while first it doesn't check any condition. It check the condition from the second iteration. So that is only the difference. So while I want to print numbers 1 to 100, let's say. So first I'll do, you do here. And so I would say console dot log, it is j. So now I'll print j plus plus. Here I would write j less than or equal to 100. So now I'll say do while is executed. Yeah. So let me run this. So yeah. Yeah. So now if you observe here, so it's similar to a while loop, but now first it will directly enter into the loop. So initially the I value is 1. It will directly enter into the do loop, do block. It will print j value as 1. Here we are incrementing this. So j value it will become 2, 2 less than or equal to 100. So this is true. So again it will go to the second iteration, third, like that it will keep on until 100. After 100 it will become 101. So this 101 less than or equal to 100, this is false. Since this is false, it will come out of the loop and go to the next statement. So now let me try with 101. So now let me run this. So now, yeah, if you observe, it will print 101. Okay, so yeah, do while is executed. So I think if you observe in the while loop, here initially when the condition is not met, initially we gave here 101. So if I gave 101, it did not enter into the while loop at all because it is a preconditional loop. But if you consider the do while, that is not the case. Though initially we gave j value as 101, it has directly entered into the do block irrespective of the condition because the condition will be checked from the second iteration. For the first iteration, it won't check any condition. Okay. So that's the reason we got it directly entered into the do block. It has printed 101. Then it will become 102. So this condition is evaluating to false. So it will not continue the second iteration. So that is only the difference. Everything else is same. Okay. So now let us discuss about for in loop. So actually in TypeScript, we have three different loops: for in, for off, and for loop. So what is the difference between for in, for off, and for loop? So this for loop is a regular for loop. So this for in loop, usually we use this for in loop. If you wanted to get the index, we can use this. So let us try this. Let us try with an example. So yeah, the syntax looks like this. So for, so it will give let I in some array, let's say. Yeah. So here for let I in array. So generally this for loop we can use to iterate. So if you want to iterate through arrays or tuples or we have maps. If you wanted to iterate through a different set of data sets, we can use this for in loop. So now I'll just show you a basic declaration of array. Maybe later we can discuss in the next sessions, we discuss more about arrays, like how to declare an array and how to retrieve the values from the array. Those things we can discuss in the next sessions. For now, I'll just show you how to initialize an array and I'll store some set of values inside the array. So yeah, let me create a new file for in loop.ts. So now let me declare. So I'll give names. So names and names, this is a array name. Then I have to say string, give the square braces equal to. So I'll give the name as test1, test2, test3. Yeah. So this is an array. So the names is an array. It has three different values. This is index 0, index 1, index 2. So now let us try to retrieve these values by using for in loop. So now I would say for, so you can give let. This is the variable which stores the index for I in names because for in loop is used to iterate through the data sets. So here I will not store the value of the values that are available in the array. Rather, it gets the index. So for the first time, it will get the index 0 that will be stored in I. Then second time it will get index 1. The third time it will get index 2. So that means whenever you use this for in loop, it actually gives the index instead of the value. So now let me try this. So I'll print the value of I, console.log. I'll print I. Okay. So now, so let me run this. Yeah. So now we got the indexes 0, 1, 2 because the array has only three elements. The index start with 0, 1, and 2. So this for in loop just use the index. Now using this index, I want to retry the values. I would say I comma. So yeah, names of I. So if I say names of I, because if you want to retrieve the value from an array, you can use the index. Okay. So initially the value of I is 0. So names of 0 will get test 1. Then 1, test 2, 2 it will get test 3. So this is how you can use for in loop. It will just give the index. Based on the index, you can retrieve the values. So whenever you need indexes, then only we need to go for the for in loop. So there is another loop, for off loop. So let us see how the syntax of for off loop looks like. So for, you need to give a variable here of any data set. It can be any iterable object. So here I gave array, right? But generally it can be any iterable object. It can be a set, or it can be an array, or it can be a tuple. So tuples, arrays, sets, maps, those things we will discuss in the coming sessions. Those are all different data sets in TypeScript. So here let x of array. So in for in loop, it actually here the variable whatever you have provided, that variable is actually getting the index. But if you take this for off loop, you actually get the value instead of the index. In this case, if I try here, right? So let me write the same thing using for off loop. So for let I off, I would say for off names. Here I'll print I. So yeah, let me format this. So let me run this. Yeah, so now you can see the first one. So in the first one, so we got indexes. Using the indexes, we are getting the values. But in the second for loop, it is directly giving the values, because the for of loops actually stores the values of the data structure rather than the index. So that's the reason for names. Initially, I is storing the name. Okay. So the test one we got here, and second time you will get test two. Third time I'll get test three. So this is the difference between for of loop and for in loop. So there is another loop, for loop, that is like traditional for loop. Okay, let me format this. Okay. Yeah, so now, so if you want to use the traditional for loop, how we use? So I would say for, so let, initial I'll declare a variable. Initial I will say I equal to 0. I less than, I'll get the length of this array. Names dot length. So length will give you the number of elements inside the array. Then I would say I plus plus. This is similar to traditional for loop that we have in Java, or generally in Java we have similar loops like Java or C. So now I would say console.log. So I'll give names of file. Okay. So how it works? So initially the value of I is 0. So the initially I value is 0. So now it will check the condition. So 0 less than names dot length, it will give the number of elements. So here we have three elements. So this length will give you 3. Okay. So now what is the value of I? Initially I value of 0. I less than or equals to names dot length. So as of now the length is 3. So 0 less than 3 is true. It will enter into the loop. It will print names of 0. You will get the first element. Then it will increase the I value. It will become 1. 1 less than 3 is true. So name of 2, 3. Like that you will get. After that the I value become 3. So 3 less than 3 is false. So it will come out of the loop. So this is just a traditional for loop. So this for in, for off, these are specific to TypeScript. So this for this is generic for loop. It will just print the same output. So this is how we can iterate through arrays using the for in loop, for off loop, or for loop. Okay. So this is all about loops. So we have discussed about while loop, do while, for in, for off, and for loop. So then there are two statements, break and continue. So what is the use of this break statement? So generally, let's say you are iterating through a loop and at the certain case, your condition is met and you wanted to exit from the loop, then we can use the break statement. So let us discuss one example. So let me create a new file here. So break in loops.ts. Okay. So now I'll create an array. Let So I'll give the name as student names. This is my array name. So it is of type string. So here, let's say I have following students. Student 1, student 2, student 3, student 4. So let's say there are 4 students inside this array. That is student names. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now my intention is I wanted to get the index of student 2. So anyway, here we have in a sequential order. Let's say I don't have in sequential order. So I have like this. Okay. So now my intention is I wanted to identify let's say that I wanted to get the index of student 4, let's say. I want to get the index of student 4. And as soon as I found, so I mean, that is my requirement. I just want to get the index of student 4. So as soon as I found the index of student 4, I don't want to continue further because my requirement is just to find the student 4 index. So let us see how we can do that. So now I would say for, so let I equal to 0. So I would say I less than or equal to student's name start length. So it will give the number of elements. I would say I plus plus. So you can use this or you can also use a for in loop also you can try. Okay. So now my intention is I wanted to check if the value of the index I will iterate through the array. As soon as I found the value of student 4, I want to get the index of that student and I want to exit the loop. So now I would say if so student names of I, if this is equal to student 4. So that is my requirement. If this is equal to student 4, so what I would do, I would say console.log student found at the index. So I'll give the index. This is the index. Or you can incorporate inside this. I would say dollar. This is the index. So you need to give these single quotes here. Yeah. So now as soon as I found the student and the index, so I don't want to continue. I'll simply give break. So break is a statement. As soon as you found a match, you can do the operation that you want, then you can exit. So as soon as it matches with student 4, it won't continue. It will simply come out of the loop. Okay. So that is the use of break statement. So whenever if a particular condition is matched, then you want to exit from the loop, we can use the break. So let me run this. Now it will iterate student 1, student 3, and for the student 4, as soon as it sees the student 4, it will execute that. And since the condition is matched here, it will go and perform. It will execute the code that you have provided. Since you have break statement, it will come out of the loop. So that is the advantage of using the break statement. So whenever your particular condition is satisfied, and if you wanted to move out from the loop, we can use the break statement. So in this case, once the student 4 is matched, I don't want to move further because my requirement is just to search student 4. I'm able to find my match. After that, how many elements we have, I don't want to iterate because the required match is already found. So in this case, we can use break to come out of the loop. So there is another statement continue. So what is the use of this continue? Continue is used to skip a particular iteration. So here the break is used to come out of loop once a particular condition is met. But if you wanted to skip a particular iteration, we can use the continue. So let us take one example. So now I have let, so y, it is of type number, let's say. I have 4. So whenever the value of y is 4, I want to skip the iteration. So for let I, so for, okay, I'll use this for let I equal to 0, I less than or equal to 10, I plus plus. Okay. So now here my intention is, so whenever the value of I is 3, I don't want to continue, I want to skip that. So in that case, what I will do is, so I'm printing the numbers 1 to 10, console.log, sorry. Here I'll give 1. So I'll print I. So if I run this, what it will do, it will simply print numbers 1 to 10. So let me run this. So this should be break. Yeah, so it is printing 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 10. But whenever the value of phi is 5, let's say, I want to skip that particular iteration. So you can say if I equal to 5, you can simply say continue. So as soon as the value of I is 5, then it will skip that iteration. This entire code, whatever you have after this condition, all that code will be skipped. Go to the next iteration. So in this case, it will not print the value of 5. So let me run this. It won't print a value 5 because it will skip that iteration and go to the next iteration. And now you can see here. Okay, it printed. So now, okay, sorry, it should go here because since you kept here, right, it will print that. So now I want to skip after this. So whenever the value of 5 is matched, I don't want to execute this code. It will just execute until this part. After this condition, whatever the code is available, it will not execute that. So let me run this. So yeah. So it will skip 5 now. It should skip 5. Yeah, now you can see it got skipped because here, as soon as this condition is met, right, I am giving this continue keyword. So that means after this condition, whatever the code that you provided, that code will not be executed. It will be skipped this code after this condition. It will go to the next iteration. So that is the advantage of using continue. Whenever you would like to skip a particular iteration or after a condition is met, if you wanted to skip the code below that, I can use the continue. So this is how we can use a break and continue. So I think this is all about today's session. So we just discuss about switch case and then while, do while, for in, for off, for break and continue. So yeah, in the tomorrow session, we'll discuss about arrays and tuples.